Hello and welcome to Thoughts on Thursday. It's Reverend Miller
And Stuart Holmes.
We have been absent from our Thoughts on Thursday for a little while. I guess, Stuart, you could say we've been thoughtless for a few weeks. But we're back, and we're hoping to be back for several weeks, all the way through the end of the year, as we continue to look at worship and reflect on that as we prepare for worship on Sunday morning. And you can see that we have a new view, and Stuart's going to talk about that a little bit more. Normally he doesn't let me come around here. I think he's afraid I might push buttons or something.
Our space.
And I'm very tempted to do that. But for the next few weeks, we're going to look at worship, but the impact of COVID on worship, because we have changed worship because of that, and to have safe practice, but also a reflection on maybe some of the things we have changed that will stay that way. We don't know, that we haven't made an official vote on that or anything like that, but there are some things that have changed and also reveal that worship always changes. Just like you have a new view today of us and we've moved the council, things do change, right? Nothing ever stays the same. And so today we're looking at the offering. Here at Old Paramus, for a very long time, we would pass the plates. And once COVID started and we went virtual, there was no passing of the plates. And then as we joined together, we didn't want all that movement, nor passing of the plates and everyone touching the plates. And so we have left offering plates in a central location for people to give that way, or they can give by sending in their offering right directly to the office. And so as we look at that, we've been here since 1725. And because of that, we've done different things. So some people don't realize, they think that passing of the plates, especially in the Protestant church, is a biblical practice. Nothing in the Bible says we have to pass plates. And in fact, when we first came here in 1725 and started this church, I wasn't here, if you were wondering. They did not pass the offering plate because the colonies were actually, they had a state church, and that colony funded those churches. And I was reading an article from Christianity Today, they were talking about that, and they claimed that New Jersey was an Anglican colony. I said, wait a minute. We're Dutch Reformed here in New Jersey, and that was the original colony, and they're trying to take that away. Rutgers University began as Queen's College, which was a Dutch Reformed college. Right next to it is New Brunswick Theological Seminary, our original seminary, still in existence. In fact, the oldest continuous seminary in the United States. And so, yes, we were a Dutch colony, and the Dutch Reformed Church was funded really up until the 19th century. So for 75 plus years here, we were funded through the colony and also the mother church in the Netherlands. Then as the revolution happened and we became the United States, slowly that changed, and then we had to fund ourselves. And what our church did is we had what you might call a pew fee or a pew tax. And you would rent your pew that you sat in, and that funded the church, paying the pastor, keeping the lights on or the candles going back then. And so for a very long time, we went from state funded to pew tax or a pew. And there's even in our history a time where that kind of wasn't run well and the funds were low, and the new minister came in and kind of upgraded that, and the pew tax was just done better, and the money came flowing in. And then that switched to passing of the plates. And that's what we had for the very longest time. Some articles are talking about how passing of the plates is an old technique that does not help the church anymore. So as we look to the future, will we go back to passing the plates, or will we continue to no longer pass the plates and find a new way of having people give their offering? And one of the things it does is it allows in the worship to be shorter at this time, as we look to have a shorter worship because of COVID and also the video live stream. That'll lead us until next week, where we'll talk about kind of the change in the length of service and some other aspects. So that's just a little insight. I know you were dying to know more about passing of the plates, but it's an interesting thing that as time changes, we adapt and we find new methods of doing things that we had done in the past. So those are my lots of thoughts today, and I think I'll have plenty next week. I think, Stuart, you've got some thoughts too.
I do. As has already been mentioned, the console's been moved out. You can see a little bit that the screen that normally separates me from the front part of the raised area, the dais, has been removed. That's all because we're going to have a group of kids and adults here tomorrow. I do a program called Meet the King of Instruments. This is a program that I've done since the 1990s. Back in those days, I could walk a whole class down to Westside Presbyterian Church and teach about the organ as the kids sat around. When buses became more problematic cost-wise, we decided to, we had a group here at Old Paramus, but that whole class kind of fell off, and the program, Meet the King of Instruments, morphed into smaller groups, scout groups, which I still do, scout groups, adult groups like the Guild, or different adult groups from different areas. Even the Rotary Club has been here and will be here again in the next month or so. So that's part of the gig that I do, is to get the kids around here to actually watch what I'm doing. I do take pipes and show them you know, how a pipe is constructed, and that didn't play very well, but that's, some of them are going to be doing that. All sanitized, of course. This is not a current pipe, just in case you were worried. I know you were worried. And we're going to be actually constructing a little tiny positif. We call it a positif. It's a portable organ that can be constructed on site by kids. And then the piano students will come up and play the instrument. So that's what we're going to be doing this Saturday. Referring only briefly to Sunday, I'm going to be talking about improvisation next week, but being a new student of improvisation, I'm constantly trying to practice that art. And the last thing I wanted to say was Lift High the Cross is one of our hymns, and that evokes a real gut level response in me, because I can remember being in 7th grade, sitting in the back row of this large Catholic church where I was a member, and watching the crucifixion walking by. You would love this. You talk about Anglican, walking by with a high cross. And it was a long processional, so it must have been a festival Sunday. And the organ was at full tilt, and the choir was singing, and it just got me. So that hymn today, or tomorrow, Sunday.
You'll get it.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be here.
Hopefully you'll be playing
both today, tomorrow, and
practicing them
Sunday.
every day. But
So I'm going to improvise on that hymn, and hopefully the emotions don't get me in the middle of the improvisation, because then I'm dead. So that's what I had to say for today.
okay. Well, thank you for joining us on Thoughts on Thursday. We'll see you hopefully for Sunday worship, either in person or on Facebook or YouTube, and hope to see you next Thursday for a few more thoughts.